Hi, Kelly Center with Centered Living Counseling. Today I'm continuing my conversation about anxiety, but I'm going to address it today from the angle of managing outside pressures that can cause anxiety. So, have you ever found yourself in a tight spot, maybe a situation where you had to make a tough decision and you just felt the weight and the pressure of the world on your shoulders? I found myself in that situation recently, not too long ago, at the end of the summer. I had moved to a new state. I was virtually homeless. I didn't have anywhere to live and didn't have a full time job at the time. Had a little bit of money coming in consistently, but it was not sufficient for me to get a place to live, and I just felt the pressure on me. Now, as a part of that pressure, there were other people, family members, friends, society, right, who were saying what I needed to be doing. I had a lot of shoulds running around in my mind. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing that. And that created so much pressure within me. And at that time, added to that, I was deciding to do my business full time. Now, I had always done it part time, which is how I had a little bit of income coming in, but I hadn't done it full time. And I knew that this was a leap that I needed to make, but I was scared and I was nervous. So here I am, moved to this new city. I'm staying with this person and that person. And I, to be honest, never found myself in that situation before in life. This was the first time in life where I didn't have my own place to live. And was no immediate plan to have that. And at this time, I'm saying I'm going to start my own business full time. So, of course, I had family members and friends saying, "You're crazy, don't do that." So, I'm going on job interviews and doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, right? Going on these job interviews. I had gone on over 10 job interviews. I had gotten over 10 job offers. I don't think there was one position I had applied for that I didn't get offered. But there was still something inside of me that was saying that this was not what I was supposed to be doing. It just wasn't settling with me. But it seems crazy, right? It's going against the norm. You move to a new state, you have nowhere to live, you're staying with friends, you don't have consistent income, you need to get a job, right? That's not what I was feeling. I wasn't feeling like that's what I was supposed to do. So there was a lot of pressure. And I wanted to just give you guys some tips because you may not find yourself in the exact same situation that I found myself in, but you may find yourself in pressured situations that cause anxiety. Now, for me, the anxiety showed up with me losing sleep. I wasn't able to sleep. I wasn't able to eat. I'm up all night, which is causing a whole nother set of issues, just being up all night worrying about something and worrying about what I'm going to do and trying to come up with plans and a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and so I'm losing sleep. My stomach is hurting because that's how when I have anxiety, I feel it in my stomach. So my stomach's hurting. I can't sleep. I can't eat. And I have all these outside pressures, family, friends, and the shoulds, the societal pressures of what I should be doing. And so the tips that I want to share with you are when you find yourself in that tight situation where you have to make a decision and you have the pressures of other people weighing in on you and it's causing you some distress, a few tips to help you. The first tip is to quiet the noise. I believe that it's our job to manage the voices in our head. Now, I don't mean if you are having psychosis and you're having voices in your head. I mean the voices that come from other people. So there have been numerous times in my life where if I'm believing God for something or I'm trying to work towards a goal and there are again family, friends that I may have to cut off mid-sentence if they're saying things that go against what I'm believing for because their words, although they may mean well and they may be coming from a place of concern for me, it can place seeds of doubt in my mind. So again, the tip is to manage those voices. So protect what you are working towards or what you're wanting to do. For me at the time, it was doing my business full time, which was a leap, although I had done it part time for years. So anyone who was speaking against that or didn't understand it, I had to quiet those voices. So I limited phone calls. I did things to manage those voices, right? And then also with managing the voices is watch what you're consuming. So what are you watching? What are you listening to? Are the things that you're feeding yourself pushing you towards your goal, or are they planting seeds of doubt? Are they adding to the anxiety? Tip number 2 is sit with the anxiety and the uncomfortableness. I know that's a strange one, and it's one that I say a lot, but when we are in pressured situations, we want to get out. And then when we feel anxiety, we want the anxiety off of us. So we throw it around, as I say, we throw our anxiety around and we make rush and sometimes rash decisions that you are going to have to spend more time cleaning up and backtracking to correct those bad decisions. Versus if you just take a moment and center yourself, which is moving me to my next point. But sit with the anxiety, sit with the comfortable moment, just for a little bit, meaning that little bit may be days, right? But the point is to not act or move out of fear, because moving and acting out of fear can have you making decisions that you end up later regretting or needing to fix. The third tip is to center yourself. Centering yourself can look like prayer, it can look like meditation, but what's most important is that you quiet yourself. And in that place of quiet, you are going to look at what decision you need to make. What did God say about that thing? What have you believed and wanted and desired concerning that thing? And again, if it's not that situation, it may not be the same situation like I was in, but in all situations, you can pause for a second and say, what do I want to do? Act out of a place that's true to you and not out of, again, fear or responding to the pressures that are around you. An example I have during that time of just centering myself, it was a very humbling time. I remember passing some homeless people on the streets. And I remember, seeing them carrying their things. And I would identify as homeless at that time. And moving to my next point, focus on what you do have. Focus on what's going well and what's going right. So with that example of seeing the homeless people, particularly there was one homeless lady who I saw carrying a bunch of bags, and here I am with a bunch of bags in my trunk, and I'm staying at a friend's house or staying at a cousin's house here or there, and I'm taking things out of my trunk. Very, very humbling season for me. And so I started to focus on what I did have, because see, at that point the negative thoughts can start to sink in. You're crazy, right? All the things that people have been telling you that you're trying to avoid, those thoughts start to sink in. Sometimes you may end up telling yourself those things, and those late nights when you can't sleep, or if you get turned down for a job interview, or something that you're working towards doesn't work out, those negative thoughts set in. So you fight those negative thoughts. I've mentioned before, we fight negative thoughts with positive affirmations, and one of those ways of doing that is focusing on what you do have. During that season of my life, I knew that I had my car. It wasn't paid off at the time. It was almost paid off, but I had my car. I had a certain amount of money coming in that I could count on every month, which meant that I could pay my car note, I could pay my cell phone bill, and I would have money for the basic necessities of food and gas. It would be tight, but I would have that if nothing else. So I focused on that. So when I felt like everything around me was crumbling and I had nothing, and I was crazy for wanting to start my business when I have nothing from the bottom, I would focus on, well, at least I'm not on the street, right? Not that I was looking down on the homeless person, but saying, at least I have this. When everything else feels like it's crumbling around me, at the very least, I have a car, I have a cell phone, I have a little bit of money coming in so I can have food and gas. Focus on what's going right in your life and what you do have when you find yourself in that tight and pressured situation. Next is work your plan. Put your hand to the plow. Develop a plan and work that plan. If it is, in my case, it was starting my own business, then do the research. What is it going to require for you to be able to do that? And I like to point that out because sometimes things, we sit and we wait for things to just kind of fall in our laps, but you have to go after that thing, whatever that looks like for you, whatever the pressured situation is, you have to put effort towards it, right? There's a scripture that says faith without works is dead. We can believe for things, but if we don't put our action behind it, we give God nothing to work with. So put your hand to the plow, work the plan, be in the room, be in the atmosphere, be around other people who are doing that thing that you're wanting to do so that you can be at a place of moving forward. And the final step is repeat. Sometimes we have to go back through that thing over and over again. Quiet the noise. Am I managing the voices? Sit with the anxiety. Don't move out of a place of fear. Center yourself. Pray, meditate, get into a calm, centered self, and move from that place of calmness, not out of fear and anxiety. Focus on what you do have and what's going right. Manage those negative thoughts. Work your plan. Develop and work your plan. And again, repeat. So this is just a little video to talk about managing the pressures that we feel that can cause anxiety. I do hope it has been helpful to you. And you all remember to journey well. Thank you.